Crimson Trace offers a full line of protection-oriented products, including red laser sights, green laser sights, and tactical weapon lights to elevate your confidence in moments that matter. Learn more at crimsontrace.com.
Today on Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, some of the history behind certain firearms and ammunition. A new novel from retired Navy SEAL Jack Carr that was delayed so the Department of Defense could review it. Plus, upcoming gun votes in San Diego County and more. And as always, call 866-TALK-GUN with your comments, questions, and range reports. And now, here's Tom.
All righty, let's do this thing. Tom Gresham here. It's Gun Talk. We're going to be talking about guns and shooting and new gear and old gear and history of guns and a lot of other things for the next several hours. So it's your chance to get involved. If you'd like to be a part of this, you want to be on the air with me, give me a holler. All you got to do is call 866-TALK-GUN or Tom Talk Gun. That's easy to remember. Fair enough. Always looking for range reports. What have you been shooting? Have you been doing any training? Bought any guns recently? We always love to hear that. And we will absolutely help you to spend your money. If you want to call and get permission, I will give you the special dispensation. I will basically be an enabler to help you buy a new gun. Just give me a holler. A lot of things going on. We have a lot of news to talk about. In the last week and a half, this NRA story just keeps going on and on. If you're not following it, maybe it's confusing. Even if you are following it, maybe it's confusing. If all you're doing is getting your information from the NRA directly, you're being misled, at least in my view. And then we have two different board members in the past week writing articles, at least it appears they wrote them themselves, defending the NRA, defending Wayne LaPierre, basically equating Wayne LaPierre to the NRA, in essence saying, if you are taking any kind of position against Wayne, then you are taking a position against the NRA, and you are actually helping the gun banners, basically trying to shame those who are calling for Wayne to retire or to just leave, based on all of the information that's been coming out about his activities. In fact, I think it was this week Wayne was out in the West flying private jets. I think he went out to Jackson this week, Jackson, Wyoming. So the use of private jets, spending money at a prodigious rate continues. The spending $100,000 a day on outside counsel continues. A lot of things going on. But something that just happened a couple of days ago is our good friend Buzz Mills from Gunsite, who has been a board member, NRA board member for 10 years, wrote a letter, an open letter, to NRA members and to NRA directors. Before I bring him in, I just want to read something here. It says, it starts out, I address this first to our NRA members. You are the reason for our existence. It is your money we are spending. Believe me, I know this. It is not our money. It is yours. Next, I address this to the board of directors. This is a call to action. You have a duty to act. Joining us right now is Buzz Mills from Gunsite, an NRA board member for a decade and a Marine. Buzz, welcome. Hey, Buzz, you there? Well, we're trying to pull him in there, right? He may have put his phone down. We'll see if we can rope you in. Let me read a little bit more from this letter. Let me know when we get Buzz back here. He says he spent more than 5 decades as a supporting member. He spent 10 years on the board. And one of the things that Buzz says in his open letter, he calls for an independent audit, financial audit. Use one of the big 5, big 4 firms. Okay, we got Buzz back. Hey, Buzz, you there? All right, we're having a little trouble. We got some new equipment we just put in this week, so we're trying to pull him in here. We'll see if we can work this out. What we're going to do is, let me kind of go on. The thing about this letter that's interesting, for me anyway, is he's saying, look, I have been on the board for 10 years. I actually heard some people or saw some comments online, people saying, oh, sure, Now he wants to stand up and be counted. Where's he been all the time? Well, to them, I would just say this. You have no idea what's been going on. You have no idea. Buzz was on the finance committee, when he first got on the board, asked a lot of hard questions because he's a good businessman. He asked hard questions, and they didn't want those questions asked. And they certainly were not going to answer the questions about how they're spending their money. And so they removed him from the finance committee. Point of fact, there are a number of board members at the NRA who have been trying to get this information, and they are denied the financial information from the NRA. Now, they're the people who run the organization. It's not the staff. Well, let me take it back. It's supposed to work that way. I think in most cases right now, and for some period of time, the staff has been running it and essentially telling the board of directors what they can know, what they can do. And it's my impression that this has all been coming from Wayne, who selects the key staffers and, frankly, selects the board members for the key committees, which is where the work gets done. So it's been frustrating for an awful lot of board members for quite some period of time, working on this, trying to get answers, and being denied, being shuttled about, being put off to the side, being removed from the key committees. If you ask the wrong question, if you say, hey, what about the finances? This doesn't seem to make sense. Why are we spending money on this? Boom. You are put to the side. Do not ask those questions because we don't want to answer them. In point of fact, there are a lot of questions that some of the folks at the top of the NRA do not want to have to answer. Tell you what, take a quick break here. We'll come back. If you'd like to join us, 866-TALK-GUN will get you in here. I'm Tom Gresham, and this is Gun Talk.
A perfect pistol for self-protection? Smith & Wesson's M&P 2.0 Compact. Big enough to shoot easily, small enough to carry daily. Plenty of ammo to get the job done with 15 rounds of 9mm. Also available in 40 and 45 calibers. All the great M&P 2.0 enhanced features, now in a compact size for carry and home protection. Check it out at smith-wesson.com.
Since 1937, Ducks Unlimited has led the charge on wetlands and waterfowl conservation. Wetlands reduce the effects of flooding and recharge our drinking water, but perhaps most importantly, they allow us to experience what makes the outdoors so great. Band together to rescue our wetlands.
Want to win a gun? Hey, this is Ryan Gresham with Gun Talk. Visit guntalk.com/win to enter our latest giveaway. This month, enter to win one of 2 new guns from Sig Sauer, the P320 X5 Legion with 3 17-round magazines, or the P365 XL X Series with 2 12-round mags, both in 9mm. Enter now through August 2nd at guntalk.com/win. That's guntalk.com/win.
For more than 70 years, Timney Triggers has been enhancing the shooter's experience. Whether it's a local competition, a day at the range, or even the hunt of a lifetime. Setting the standard in aftermarket triggers, Timney is now producing more than 170 models of triggers for bolt-action rifles, shotguns, AR rifles, and semi-automatic rifles. Proudly made in the USA since 1946. Find your new trigger at timneytriggers.com.
Well, we have a whole new studio full of brand new gear here, upgrading everything, trying to get it all to work. Trying to get Buzz Mills in here from Gunsite. Hey, Buzz, can you hear me now? See if I can hear you.
Yeah, Tom. Good morning. How are you?
Oh, there he is. I am so glad we got the right button and the right cable put together there. Appreciate that. Let me, you know how it is when you put in new gear, don't you?
Absolutely. I put in a lot of it, and through the magic of modern electronics, here we are.
There it is.
The electronics
all right, so
is more magic than the folks that have to connect it up, unfortunately, and I did a lot of connecting.
Yes, you did. You were a pioneer in the cell phone world. All right, let me ask you quickly. You've been a board member, NRA board member for 10 years. You got this open letter calling for an independent audit. And one of the things you say in your letter that I wanted to ask you about, you said you testified on the floor at the board of directors meeting in Indianapolis. That was the meeting where we all got kicked out. You guys went into executive session for 9 hours or something. And you said that you actually have the evidence from board of directors meetings from the minutes of an abdication, as you say, an abdication of responsibility. What are you talking about?
Well, there was, and I'm not talking about what happened in the meeting. I'm just referring now to the minutes of the meetings, which are public information.
Okay.
And we go back to mid last year, and I did some research as to some of the actions that were taken, and in committee meetings, the vote was taken in the committee and approved to allow, for instance, only one signature being required on financial transactions and on checks. And the organization is just too big for that. And it's always been, prior to that, it's always taken more than one signature. So people would have to collaborate in order to spend large amounts of money. And that was all approved by the board at one meeting, two meetings where I was absent. I was recovering from surgery last year, and so I offered that up, and told everybody that we needed to take a look at this because this is not oversight, and that's what I was referring to. And there are many other examples that are plainly visible if one peels back the onion a little bit and starts reading that all this information that's been published that's out there for all of the board members.
That's an interesting question because I've had people, and you've heard it, where people say, well, all these reports are out there. They're coming from the New York Times, and they're coming from the Washington Post, and they're coming from these places that are typically anti-gun. And the best comment I heard about that is it says, just because it's coming from someone who doesn't support you doesn't mean that the report is inaccurate. And I've actually not been able to find anybody who knows that will say that any of these reports are actually inaccurate.
Well, I like you, Tom, I've not heard anybody say that they're inaccurate. But, a lot of times people act like Democrats and they attack the messenger and say, oh, well, look at the political orientation of the writer or the organization that's publishing it or what have you, rather than try and refute the facts. And so you get a lot of that, but you don't get a whole lot of convincing argument about what are the facts, And that's one reason that I call for this audit. This audit would be a tremendous place to start, and I can't imagine it's incomprehensible to me that anybody would object to that.
Well, there's only one reason I could think of that anybody would object to that is if you had something to hide.
Well, I suppose there's an awful lot of truth to that, and it just needs to be done. Ollie North started that before he left, and we should have continued that. That was my argument at the meeting. We should have continued that. I know you've been fighting this. People say, well, geez, you're just popping up now. You've been on the board for 10 years. You haven't done anything about it. And I always say, you don't have any idea what's been happening back there.
There have been some board members who have been working on this for a long time, but that has to have been hugely frustrating for you, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, it is. And, I try and my time is valuable to me, and I try and spend it where I can do the most good. And I've been working behind the scenes for years, trying to build coalitions, trying to build consensus, trying to get things done. My argument is, standing outside and throwing bombs and attacking folks. Maybe they need to be attacked, but that's not going to get the job done. All that's going to do is create animosity and hard feelings, and it's not going to get the job done. The fact of the matter is, the NRA is the most powerful civil rights organization this country's ever seen. We get more done, we get more accomplished, and through the works over the years, Wayne LaPierre, he has done monumental things for our industry and for the Second Amendment. Credit where it's due. And our organization is the only thing that stands between the tyranny of the left and Pelosi and the Squad and all those people and America as we knew it, as we grew up in it. And it's I've been working diligently within the bylaws to try and get things done from inside, because we're not throwing bombs from the outside is not going to get it done. We've got to move people's minds, and we've got to get them going in the right direction. I want to be here. This is a speed bump, and we're going to get past this, and we're going to get past the current administration that we have at the NRA, right or wrong, up or down, right or left, whatever it is. The NRA is going to survive. The NRA has been here since 1871, and we're going to be here till 2571, as far as I'm concerned. And there's work that needs to be done. We need to get this audit done. We need to take that, and then we need to right the wrongs and rebuild, build up the membership. We've got to build that up.
Let me ask you. Something happened. You went public with this letter. You wrote this letter to NRA members and to NRA board members, and you're calling for this independent audit. You've been working on the inside, working on the board, trying to get things done. Why? I guess that's the real question. Why did you go public with this? What motivated you to take this thing out to the world? Well,
we have got. I'm inundated with mail. When you're at Gunsite, you're a public figure. You're open to all kinds of scrutiny, and your email's out there. Everybody knows you, or somebody that knows me, and so people are just flooding me with emails about something needs to be done. And I talk to other people in the industry. The industry is getting a lot of negative comments and a lot of negative correspondence. And we need to settle down, folks, and go to work. And that's what a bunch of us on the board have been trying to do. And it's I figure it's just time that we let folks know that we're working for them. We've been working for them. And it's NRA to me is as dear to me as America is.
I noticed that in your letter you don't say the NRA. You keep saying our NRA, and that was on purpose, I know.
Yes. Well, I've always referred to it as our NRA, and because it is ours. And it's like I said in the beginning, and something that I have preached from the rooftops since day one is the money we're spending is not our money. The money that we're spending is money that people have donated. People have paid dues. People have bought enhanced memberships, and right. All of this is to go to the Second Amendment and training and education. So,
all right, let me ask you. I don't have a lot of time left. What's the likelihood, you think, of actually getting this independent audit at this point? Do you think the leadership will be at all receptive to this?
I'm thinking that ultimately we'll get it. How quickly, I don't know. because more and more people that I talk to, board members, are of the mind that well, yeah, you're right, Buzz. Well, yeah, I think so, and so more people are coming around. I think we'll end up with it, but it's not going to be. I don't see it as being imminent.
Well, there's nothing in it for the current leadership because, and it's not you saying it, this is me saying it. When you get the independent audit, people are going to find out what's been going on. And that's what I think the leadership don't want. I don't think they want people to know what's been going on. I think we've only scratched the surface, and we've seen ugly, but I'm afraid there's an awful lot more that's ugly in there that's going to come out. But it has to come out. The other thing is, as far as you talk about industry leaders, this is affecting the firearms industry. It's affecting the Second Amendment movement. It's affecting the cause. And at a certain point, I'm just going to say it again, right, wrong, or indifferent, when you are the problem, you as the CEO, you as the leader, when you are the problem, you got to step aside for the good of the company, for the good of the organization in this case, and frankly, for the good of the movement. And I'm just going to call it again, Wayne, worked with you a long time, but at this point, you're a problem. You need to step aside. That's not Buzz saying it. That's Tom Gresham saying it. So I'll take the heat for that one.
Well, it's the entire industry and the Second Amendment. Not only that, but our organization was influential in the 2016 election, and we got a big election coming next year. And we have got to be organized, and we have got to be on point to complete this 8-year term that we started out for that gets renewed next year.
Absolutely. Buzz, thank you so much for standing up, for writing this letter, and I wish you continued luck and I hope success with your battles there. Thank you, my friend.
All right. Thank you, Tom. Y'all have a great day and appreciate talking to you.
Absolutely. Take care. Buzz Mills, he's the owner of Gunsite, foremost training academy for gunfighting for civilians, self-defense, and a Marine, and he continues to fight. He's actually been fighting for you. You just didn't know it. Now you know it. He's out there. 866-TALK-GUN. I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk.
Good morning, Mr. Gresham. Your mission, should you decide to accept it, is to host a radio show that will bring truth and common sense to the discussion of firearms rights in this country. Good luck, Tom, to you and your Tom Gresham's Gun Talk team.
All right, for some time now, I have been pushing the importance of state gun rights groups, as well as even local or regional gun rights groups. And yes, of course, the national gun rights groups, NRA, Second Amendment Foundation, others are important, vital even. But it's interesting how much can be done in a state group or a local group. And also, they're kind of the boots on the ground. They've got the ear to the ground, if you will. They know what's going on and can fight these things quickly, a lot of times move more quickly than big groups can. Case in point, the San Diego County Gun Owners Group. Michael Schwartz joins us right now. He's the executive director. Hey, Michael, welcome.
Hey, Tom. Thank you for having me on.
You bet. All right, first of all, tell people, why is there a San Diego Gun Owners Group?
Excellent question. So keep in mind, San Diego County has about 3.5 million people. So that if we were our own state, we'd actually be bigger than about 18 or 19 other states. So San Diego is a pretty big territory. Okay. Within that territory, we have 18 city councils, a couple dozen school boards. We have 9 police departments, an enormous sheriff's department, a very important sheriff who has a role to play in CCWs and issuing concealed carry weapon permits. So there was a huge need for a lot of attention on Main Street. And I agree, there are some wonderful organizations that fight for our rights in Washington, D.C. and in Sacramento. But we can't expect them to be everywhere all the time, and we certainly can't expect them to do all the work. So I sat down with a number of other activists, and we came up with a plan. And what we didn't want to do is duplicate what other people or other organizations are doing. We decided, hey, we want to find out what's not being done, and then fill that hole in the front line of the battle.
Sure, makes sense.
So we put together, we formed as a political action committee because we wanted the ability to really get involved in politics. You know, we looked around the local landscape and saw that there's a formula to people getting elected, and that there are a number of organizations and people that are involved in that formula. And we quickly realized that the Second Amendment was not a part of that formula. You know, tax policy was a part of the formula, and you know, all kinds of other things were a part of the formula. But nobody was paying attention to our Second Amendment rights here in San Diego. So we decided to duplicate what these other groups were doing and direct all the efforts towards Second Amendment candidates. So what that includes is we have membership. We're over 1,300 members in just about 3.5 years. We raise money for political purposes, so we don't really get involved in lawsuits. There are a lot of great organizations that are filing lawsuits, and we encourage people to become members of all those organizations. But our purpose is to get the right people elected on these local boards and councils by being directly involved in the political process, by giving them the resources they need. And in politics, you have two tools. You have money and people, and that's pretty much it. You know, the worst ideas can get elected if they have enough money and people, and the best ideas, the best ideas won't get anywhere unless you have money and people. So we decided that's what we were going to concentrate on.
It occurs to me that, you know, you're nimble when you're running an operation on a county level. You can respond to things quickly. You hear about things quickly. You know, you can move fast.
Oh, absolutely. And we found a lot of allies in a lot of places that wanted to help support and restore our Second Amendment rights. So if there's something cooking at City Hall and one of the 18 city councils, you know, we'll hear from a staffer real quick, you know, hey, this is what they're thinking of doing. And then we can respond to that, even quicker.
Well, what is the immediate thing? There's something going on right now.
Well, something going on right now is the city of San Diego. So they're one of the 18 cities in the county. They have a city attorney, and the city attorney is meant to be the attorney for the city council. So that's not the district attorney. They're meant to represent the city on legal matters. She's decided that she's wants to be an anti-gun extremist. Her name's Mara Elliott. And she's been doing two things. One is she's been really pushing hard on the red flag laws, so gun violence restraining orders. But recently, she's also pushing for a regulation at the city level that will require people to store their guns inside their home, either locked up or inoperable, unless they're actually touching the gun. And that's actually going to get voted on. Tuesday morning, they're going to vote on that.
So if you needed a gun for self-defense, you would have to pick it up and load it or put it together before you need it, according to this regulation.
Yeah, or you remember the combination of your safe and get into that. You know, Justice Scalia during Heller versus D.C. actually kind of made fun of the idea when the opposition brought up gun locks. He said, okay, so if somebody broke into my home, I'd have to sit up in bed and find my reading glasses and then turn on the light, and actually kind of mocked them for it. But yeah, that's the idea, is unless you're actually in control of the gun, which, you know, it's kind of a vague definition. They didn't really define it, but to me, being in control of the gun means you're actually holding it. It has to be locked or inoperable, you know, at all times inside your home.
What's the climate? What's the likelihood of this passing?
It's highly likely. So they actually vote on it twice. The first time they voted on it, it passed 6-2, and then this is the second reading, and they're voting on it again. And I'm expecting it'll probably people will probably vote the same way. But here's the interesting twist: They voted on it a couple weeks ago, and 12 hours later, in the city of San Diego, there was a story that the news got a hold of and really promoted, where somebody tried to rob somebody's house. So it turned out they were homeless, they were on drugs. They broke into somebody's house, stabbed the homeowner multiple times, and while the homeowner was being attacked, his wife called 911. She was on the phone with 911, pleading for help, and his adult son, his 20-year-old adult son, was able to get a hold of one of his pistols and actually stop the attack, shoot the intruder, and saved his father's life. And my first thought when I saw that story, just 12 hours after they voted, was, if this law were in place before this happened, I don't know if that homeowner would have survived.
And that's the kind of real-world story that's how it really happens. How can people find out more about it? How can they keep in touch with what you guys are doing?
Absolutely. Check out San Diego County GunOwners.com. San Diego County GunOwners.com.
That'll work. Michael, keep us posted if you would, please.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it.
All right, you take care. 866-TALK-GUN. How do you keep your gun in your home available for self-defense and yet secure from somebody else getting it? What is your personal solution for that? Just give me a call. Just call it, Tom Talk Gun. That'll get you in here.
The Ruger pistol that started it all is now even better. The Ruger Mark IV has the same great look as the Mark III, but now its simple one-button takedown means less time taking apart your gun and more time shooting it. Disassemble it in seconds for no hassle cleaning. Learn more about the Target, Hunter, and 2245 Light Mark IV series models at Ruger.com. The Ruger Mark IV, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
Hi, this is Tom Gresham from Gun Talk. America is losing critical wildlife habitat at a rate of 1 football field every hour. It's happening on the Louisiana coast, but it's critical to all sportsmen and conservationists. These precious wetlands provide winter habitat for more than 10 million ducks and geese annually, waterfowl that migrate north through dozens of states. Don't shrug it off. Get involved. You can help. Visit vanishingparadise.org.
Tired of searching the web for the best deals on guns, ammunition, and gear? Download the free Gun Dealio app today for deals and discounts right at your fingertips. Handguns, rifles, shotguns, ammo, optics, lasers, gun safes, targets, gun cleaners, grips, slings, and much, much more. Save money on products you want from the companies you love. New deals, discounts, and rebates added daily. Gun Dealio, available for free in the App Store and Google Play.
Tactical professionals who put their lives on the line every day depend on Surefire. Since 1979, Surefire has designed, machined, and assembled the finest flashlights and weapon-mounted lights right here in the U.S. From everyday carry flashlights with 1200 lumens and mil-spec hard anodized finishes to the most reliable weapon lights on the market for duty use or your home defense firearm, Surefire has what you need. American built, American strong. Visit surefire.com.
All right, by the way, you can follow me on Twitter. I am at Gun Talk. That's Twitter Talk if we use the @ sign. At Gun Talk on Twitter. I had a little fun a couple of days ago. I put up some of the comments about me and the radio show I was seeing on other websites. I love guns. I love the Second Amendment, but I can't stand Tom Gresham. And on and on. It was kind of fun. The whole mean tweets thing is a hoot and a half. Let's see. I'm a FUD. For those of you who don't know, FUDD is like Elmer Fudd. I guess somebody may have heard me talking about a hunting rifle, doesn't know about the 10 or 12 or more ARs I have, or the self-defense guns I have and shoot, or the training I've done. I don't know. Who knows? It was kind of a fun deal. Let's see. I get this email from Steve. He's asking questions. He said he'd like to find a long gun that he can use. Basically, what he's looking for is an AR type, some kind of black rifle. And he has classic guns, but he wants something he can use for hunting deer, doing some longer range shooting, something longer than 100 yards. And he's wanting to know, he says, tell me all I could hunt with this. How far out could I target shoot with it? And then what kind of optic or range or power would I recommend? It's one of those questions that's so open. First of all, I mean, I could use a little help here if you would like to tell me. If you hunt with an AR platform, the modern sporting rifle, I would love to hear what you are using, how you have it equipped, and what do you hunt? What kind of critters do you hunt? But Steve, if you're trying to decide between a 5.56 caliber and a 308 caliber, if you're going to hunt deer, the 308 is simply better. There's just no doubt about it. It's a more capable round. And now they're building some fairly lightweight AR-style guns. I say AR because they're AR-10s, not AR-15s. A little bit larger. You could shoot as far out as you could shoot a 308, 500, 600, 700 yards for target shooting, 800 to 1,000 yards. I wouldn't do that for hunting, but I would call it an honest 4, even 500-yard hunting gun if you are a really good shot and you pick your shots carefully. Use the right ammunition, good bullets, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Long-range shooting is a skill and a science unto itself. Just because you have the gear doesn't mean you can do it. Most people probably should be limited to 300 yards for their hunting shooting, if you will. But then it becomes personal preference. It's kind of, what do I want? Get a good trigger, get a good rifle. Buy the best rifle you can buy with the money that you have available. Stretch the budget a little bit, as much as you can, frankly. No one was ever sorry that they bought quality. Not ever. Okay. And then from that point on, put a good optic on it and then put your money into ammo and shoot a lot. If you don't have one of these, for anybody that doesn't have an AR, you're missing out on a lot of fun. They are great rifles, especially the 5.56. Almost no recoil, easy to shoot, very ergonomically designed, generally pretty darn lightweight, and just they're a hoot and a half. So if you get a chance, if you've not shot an AR, then go out and shoot one, borrow one, and go with a friend. Do what you got to do to experience it, because you need to have shot at some to be able to speak intelligently about it. Let's see. Patrick's with us on line 3 out of Shreveport, Louisiana. Patrick, you're on Gun Talk. What's on your mind?
Hey, Tom. What an honor to be able to talk to you. I've listened to your show for many years and enjoy doing that when I can. So thank you for what you do for us gun owners. My concern is dealing with the NRA. Is that, it was such a strong force in the election with Trump, and it's the one largest organization that can bring gun owners together to help in a support standpoint against the left and the leftist think tank when it comes to guns and taking the Second Amendment right. I'm a gun owner, obviously, and have my concealed carry, and I want to protect that. I'm just concerned
Patrick, let me get you to hold just a second here. I have run you up against a break, and that's not fair. I want to let you get to your point here. Can I hold you over the commercial break here?
Absolutely.
Okay, that'll work. My apologies. I didn't give you quite enough time, but we'll pick this up. It's an interesting question. If we're talking with all this negativity about the NRA, what's it do to the gun rights movement? We'll talk about that when we come back. 866-TALK-GUN. All right, welcome back. We're talking with Patrick out of Shreveport, Louisiana. Patrick has concern about the NRA, what's going on, all the talk about it, the media stories. Patrick, how does this boil down for you?
Well, I mean, my concern is that the NRA will be portrayed as a fractured organization, and that's what I've actually heard this. Sometimes I listen to liberal radio just to hear what the other side is talking about, and also news stations, and just to educate myself. And they're exploiting that every chance they get. So my concern is that while I think it's a really great idea to promote grassroots organizations and support local organizations, I'm all for that and participate. I think that it's vitally important that we really come together at the NRA, and promote that the best we can to help support Trump and his efforts that he's making to secure our Second Amendment rights, and that's just really important to me.
Sure, I agree with you. Do you have any ideas of how we come together? How do we get through this current mess at the NRA?
Well, the things that you've been talking about are good. I think that, we if we can get through an audit, or if we can get some of the differences cleared out, and then somehow get together on the same page with it to really just send nothing but positive messages out there, I think that's probably the most important thing we could do in the near future. And because I think they're going to use that against us, and that's going to hurt.
Well, sure they are. Of course they are. Look, they're going to use anything they can, and that therein lies part of the problem. It's one of the things that a lot of us have been saying is, look, you being LaPierre and the crew, you're handing them tools with which they can dismantle the NRA. What you have been doing out there, the private jets, the luxury trips, the $500,000 in suits and custom-made suits that Wayne gets and flies in private planes to Los Angeles to get those. The special deals of NRA board members getting $250,000 or more from the NRA for what? We don't know, because we can't ask and we won't be told. And honestly, I personally think that's the great fear there, is if they had an independent audit, this stuff's going to come out, and there's a lot more of it than we know. At least it's my belief. And then, but until and unless it does, it's going to continue to be fractured, because the information is getting out. There are leakers at the NRA who are sending this stuff out, and I think, for the most part, their motivation is, we've got to fix this. The people in power won't fix it themselves, so we're going to have to bring the outside pressure to them, and the only way to do that is let's start peeling it back and let people know what's really going on here.
Well, I agree with you. One point I'd like to make with what you were talking about, I'm not justifying it at all, but the magnitude of spotlight and death threats and all kinds of issues that they probably go through at that level of management is probably pretty significant. So some of that compensation is just like any other CEO of a major organization or a major group. It may or may not be in line with what's typical, but the exposure level that they have from a responsibility standpoint is probably very significant.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, and I've said all along that I don't have a real problem with Wayne's salary. I know it's like in the top 8 of all nonprofits. It's judged to be by independent rating outfits a bit on the high side, but look, it's a big organization. It's all the other stuff that I wonder about. The problem is I can't say this is what's going on because, well, we can't actually find out exactly what's going on because they won't open the books. I agree with Buzz Mills. It's time for an independent audit. I echo his thought. Who would have a problem with an independent audit? Let's have some outside agency come in and look at the books, see what's going on. 866-TALK-GUN. I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk.